Next up, we're going to be recognizing the senator representing District 35, Senator Bradford. Senator Atkins is going to kick us off with the first remarks.
Well, thank you so much, Madam President. So let me just start with a really personal thing and say, Senator, it has been wonderful to serve these last 14 years with you. You got here a little bit before, maybe 6 months before in a special, but I was happy to get here and have you as one of the folks to help me get acclimated. It's an honor, colleagues, to rise in support and honor someone who's dedicated his career to serving the people of his community for more than 2 decades. First as a Gardena City Council member, then as a State Assembly member, and now as a member of our body here in the Senate. Senator Bradford has always been sparked by the desire to fight for those who are too often ignored or discounted. You know, that might seem like a familiar theme to many of us, but that's a reflection of the diversity of this body that now exists in California. In the legislature, Senator Bradford has promoted equitable opportunities and increased inclusion. His illustrious service includes chairing the California Legislative Black Caucus, the Senate Committee on Energy, Utilities, and Communications, the Senate Committee on Public Safety, and chairing the Assembly Select Committee on the Status of Boys and Men of Color. Groundbreaking police reform, police decertification, protecting the historic community of Allensworth, returning Bruce's Beach, part of the reparations that we talk about now. No matter how hard the work or late the hour, as we will see again at the end of this session, he has always looked quite dapper doing it. To this day, we're all trying to figure out how many pairs of wonderful shoes does he actually own. Fun aside, a couple of years ago, I had the responsibility of appointing members to the task force to study and develop reparations proposals for African Americans. Senator Bradford, with his lived experience and his career spent in public service, was the perfect choice to do this important work. It is historic, and many will look at this work and use it as an example as we move forward. We are making history. Thank you, Senator. He's never one to shy away from tough issues. When he attaches his name to something, you pretty much are assured that he'll get it done. I named 1 or 2 things, but let me also talk about name and likeness, NCAA sports, with a senator from Berkeley. Again, I'm going to repeat because it bears repeating, Bruce's Beach, the Ebony Alert, so many things. As a Sacramento Observer once wrote, there is just no quit to him. Many of our most disadvantaged communities say, thank you, Senator, for your dedication and the fact that you don't quit. You won't give up until you get it done. Another more fun fact, as a former nightclub producer, he went on to make sure that the annual Jazz Fest in Gardena is a hit. And if you've ever been there and had the opportunity to experience it, named wonderful artist, you should take advantage of that. It is coming up, by the way, at the end of August. A friend to everyone, Republican, Democrat alike. I will never forget when he asked me as pro tem to invite the good senator from Ceres to the Pro Tem Cup. And I thought, how am I going to explain to this senator that this is a Democratic fundraiser, but yes, we should probably consider that. And I left it at that. But he thought it was a great idea. And maybe if we would do those things together more often, you know, it would be a good thing. But I looked, you know, when he is a friend, he is a friend. Loyal to the end, to the person that he calls a friend. And again, Democrat or Republican. Some of my fondest memories are going to be of shared times, particularly as I came in, as I said earlier, to the Assembly and had you to look to. I will and have forgiven you for telling me that your favorite lesbian was the woman from Stockton. I'm right here, Senator. I'm right here.
I'm right here, Senator. I'm right here.
See, I just got you in trouble. But again, the fondest memories of fun times, of serious times, but of service to the people in your community and the people in California, and the special role that you play and that we have been able to play to people across this country as we tackle historic, internalized racism and try to make a difference in this culture. That is what I will remember most about the work that you have done. Colleagues, please join me in acknowledging Senator Bradford.
I have to be the bad one up here, colleagues. If we can hold our applauses until the member is done speaking, and if we could kindly keep to the 2-minute remarks, pretty please. Our next speaker is Senator Dolly.
Thank you, Madam President, members. Gosh, I've been waiting for this. So first, I wanted to say that I did the same thing. I went back through my text messages, and I will just say that Senator Bradford has never missed a Father's Day or my birthday, always texting me. But the crazy thing is he has a BlackBerry, so he doesn't always commute, okay, with when I'm sending him texts. Or maybe he just doesn't want it to work. But I want to go back to the Assembly, and I think it was really awesome that Senator Atkins brought up Steve and his shoes. So I came to the Assembly. Steve's the most best-dressed legislator there is, and he really does have a lot of shoes. And so, you know, I'm a farmer, and I struggle in this area. But I introduced, my daughter was here, she was 4 or 5, and I introduced my daughter to Steve, and she's looking at him, and he's got these really awesome shoes on, and she's kind of looking him up and down, and he says, "What, ain't you ever seen a black man before?" And I was like, oh my gosh, right? So, and she's like, "I really like your shoes." And she said, "They're really nice white shoes." And he says, "Those aren't white. Those are bone." And so it started off their relationship. So I want to speak about that for just a minute before I get into the seriousness of it. So Rosalind and Steve go back and forth all the time. And so fast forward a few years, I was running for the Senate. We had a watch party here in town. It was a special, so nobody was here, but Steve was around, and so we invited him to come to the watch party. So we were at this place, and Rosalind and Steve are going back and forth, and she's doing cartwheels. And she's like, "Hey, Steve, can you do a cartwheel?" And Steve's, "Of course I can." So Steve did a cartwheel. And unfortunately, he landed on his toe, and I'm not sure if it was broken or not. But he said it wasn't, but he limped around for literally 2 weeks, and he said to me, "Brian," he says, "every time I step, I see that little round face of Rosalind saying, 'Steve, can you do a cartwheel?'" So, Steve, you've been part of our life and my family's. I appreciate that. And when I did get her a bicycle, I was very sure to let her know the laws that you passed, because I believe that you have been ran over on a bicycle like 3 times. Twice. Okay, twice. And I'm glad you passed those laws to keep my daughter safe. With that being said, I was his seatmate in the Assembly, and Scott, welcome to the odd couple. I served in the Assembly, got the odd couple there, and I got Steve. I really enjoyed our time as seatmates together. But I want to now talk about what I really think Steve has added to, at least for me, being your vice chair of energy, Steve. I can't tell you your knowledge, your history of what happened. We went through bankruptcies, wildfire, power outages, and your leadership in that space is sorely going to be missed. There's no way people have the depth of knowledge that you have in that space. And I want to say, as your vice chair, I'm really appreciated working alongside you. Now I want to talk about the other things I think is the most important as a Republican that Steve has really brought forth. I think, and Senator Atkins touched on it, and his ability to be able to teach what has not been taught in the black culture and what their achievements are that has not been taught in our schools. And Steve has been a champion in that area. You know, I thought back about the movie that it was out. It's the movie about the Hidden Figures, and that was basically where IBM was taking over the jobs for the space exploration, and it was black people that really were doing the work, and they couldn't. And it's a great movie. But basically, Steve, you brought so many of those other issues where we haven't been educated, and I think that you've done such a service for California, and especially, I think, for folks like me who didn't get that culture and know it. So I want to say thank you, and I think California is a better place because we understand, you know, the advances that the black community didn't get credit for that really has changed California and America. So I want to say that, you know, I've had a lot of legislators to my district. The Black Caucus came to Tahoe with me, and Steve has never been to my district. Out of all the legislators, Steve has never been to my district. You've been to Tahoe, but not with me. So I just want to say you've been a great friend. You have bridged the gap between Republicans, Democrats. You always come out, and I really enjoyed our time every night. Steve and I hung out around this town, getting to know each other. You've been a champion. You've been somebody who's shown that work across the aisle and hard work really makes a difference. And so I want to let you know you're invited to the ranch. I'll take you fishing. I'll keep you safe. You're available up there. I love you, man. You've been awesome and a great friend, and thank you for your service to the state of California.